There are some cases that are unsettling because they feel impossible. A person doesn't just go missing from their own property in the middle of the day. A person doesn't just vanish, leaving behind their phone, purse, keys, truck, entire routine, and every sign that says they should still be there. But that's exactly why the disappearance of Lydia Abrams has stayed with so many people.
Lydia Abrams was 65 years old when she disappeared on June 6, 2020 from her ranch near Mountain Center, California in the San Jacinto Mountains. She was a wealthy widow, known to many as glamorous, independent, and deeply tied to her ranch life. And then, in a matter of hours, she was gone. No confirmed sighting after that. No clear explanation. No resolution. Just a case that has only grown stranger the more people look at it.
What's the emergency?
No problem. All units
I'm at the corner of Pleasant Hill and John Young Freeway.
1519 East 18.
Welcome back to Crime Solver Central. I'm Jace.
And I'm Charlie. What makes this case hit especially hard is that it doesn't read like a random disappearance. It reads like a life surrounded by tension, money, property, legal battles, people with something to gain, and people making claims after she was gone.
Tonight, we're walking through the details of Lydia Abrams' disappearance, the timeline, the people around her, the evidence that has been reported publicly, the major theories, and what people can still do if they know something. Because even now, it is still active, it is still painful, and it still matters.
This is one of those stories where the setting almost tricks you at first. The mountain center is beautiful. The ranch setting sounds peaceful. Horses, open land, mountain air. But once you start digging into what happened on that property, the whole thing takes a very different tone.
We're going off publicly available reporting and official missing person listings. Some details in this case are disputed, and some claims have been made in lawsuits rather than proved in criminal court. So whether something is an allegation or a theory, we're going to say that clearly.
Lydia Abrams, known as Dia, was last seen at her Bonita Vista Ranch property east of Idyllwild in Riverside County. The ranch has roughly 117 acres. She was the widow of developer Clem Abrams, who died in 2018. After his death, Dia appears to have had estate disputes, trust changes, and conflict involving her adult children and the people close to her.
15 days before she vanished, trust documents were reportedly changed by Keith Harper, the man who lived with her and described himself as her fiance, as a trustee and beneficiary. Those changes became a huge point of focus after Dia disappeared, because the question became immediate. Who controlled her property? Who stood to benefit? And what did Dia actually want?
That alone would raise eyebrows in any case. Keith Harper was the last person to see her alive. He said they had lunch that afternoon, and he saw her around 2:30 p.m. Then he went out to do ranch work. When he came back around 7:30 p.m., she was gone.
Gone, but not in a way that looks voluntary. Her purse, phone, keys, and truck were reportedly still there. And that detail matters because it strips away a lot of the easy explanations. If someone leaves in anger, maybe they still take their phone. If someone goes for a drive, they take the truck. If someone plans to disappear, usually they don't leave behind the things that anchor daily life.
That's the hook in this case. Not just that she vanished, but that the scene she left behind seems to argue against her choosing to walk away.
On June 6, 2020, Dia Abrams was at her ranch in the Mountain Center area. Public reporting says that earlier that day she had normal contact and at some point was seen going about her routine.
Then hours pass. Dia was missing, but her purse, her phone, and her truck were there. Her wallet and her keys are also listed among items left behind. Those details are a big reason this case has always felt more like foul play than a disappearance by choice.
The next day, her disappearance was reported and a search began. Authorities and search teams looked over the ranch and the surrounding area. A person missing from a known location in a relatively contained rural area should give investigators at least some kind of trail. But in Dia's case, no confirmed path out, no remains, and no definitive physical answer have ever been publicly reported.
And the ranch itself becomes a character in this case. This is not some tiny suburban lot where every inch can be checked in a few minutes. This is a large rural property in a terrain that can hide things. Ravines, outbuildings, remote stretches, neighboring land, mountain conditions. It can complicate searches. It can also create opportunity.
That's such an important point. A ranch setting can cut in two directions. If Dia somehow wandered off after a medical episode or accident, the environment could make it difficult to find her. On the other hand, if someone harmed her, the same environment could help conceal evidence. And that's one reason the case has remained so open-ended in the public mind.
During aerial searches, authorities noticed marijuana greenhouses on another property Dia owned, called Sky High Ranch. They seized a large number of marijuana plants and processed marijuana from that location. A ranch employee reportedly said he did not think Dia's disappearance had anything to do with that operation and that she never went there.
It also fed into a larger sense that investigators were walking into a complicated world, not a simple missing person scene.
But the fact that investigators were treating the ranch with that level of seriousness says a lot. It tells you that this wasn't being brushed aside as an ordinary missing adult case.
And there's another detail that has always stood out. Harper left and drove his RV out of state around the time Dia was reported missing, traveling to New Mexico and Colorado for what he said was business, and then later returned. Even if there is an innocent explanation, it is still one of those details that people hear and instantly hone in on.
Because timing matters. People naturally focus on that.
Another huge layer is the estate conflict. Dia's adult children, Clinton and Corsara Abrams, challenged the trust arrangements and wanted to remove Harper and Diana Fetter as trustees after Dia's disappearance. Public reporting says they argued for a neutral third party to manage the estate. That legal battle became one of the main public arenas where the case kept unfolding.
And that's where this story gets emotionally brutal. Because when someone disappears under suspicious circumstances, the family's not just searching for answers. They're also fighting to protect the missing person's assets, wishes, and legacy from being reshaped in real time.
Exactly. And those legal fights did not happen on their own. They happened while Dia herself was still missing.
Now, for the first time, we are seeing video of the former La Jolla resident recorded just hours before she vanished. As CBS 8's David Gottfredson reports, the video solidifies the timeline of the woman's mysterious disappearance.
It could be Lydia Abrams' last act of kindness, recorded by a neighbor's doorbell ring camera around 9 a.m. on June 6, 2020.
The reason this case gets under people's skin is because it seems to collect one red flag after another. Not proof, not final answers, but red flags.
Public reporting identifies Keith Harper as the last person to see Dia alive. He said he was her fiance. Dia's son publicly disputed that she was engaged. That may sound like a side issue, but in a case like this, disagreements over basic labels can matter because in the public picture, they shape how close people really were and how much influence they may have. And the case kept developing in the background. In March 2023, public reporting said the parties reached a negotiated settlement after a long court battle over Dia's estate. That settlement reportedly included a reward structure and the sale of properties, with future distribution of estate proceeds depending in part on whether her remains were found by 2025.
That is such a haunting detail. The legal system had to build a contingency plan around the fact that Dia might never be found. It's practical, but it's also devastating.
And then, in late 2025, the case took another public turn. CBS 8 reported that a wrongful death lawsuit was filed in Riverside County Superior Court, alleging that Keith Harper intentionally killed Dia Abrams and should be barred from inheriting from her estate. They also reported that Harper denied wrongdoing. That is civil litigation, not a criminal conviction, but it shows how active and contested this case still is.
That recent development matters because it tells the audience this isn't just an old disappearance frozen in time. People are still fighting over what happened. There are still allegations being made. There are still real legal consequences hanging over the unanswered question of where Dia is.
Public reporting has consistently described a $300,000 reward tied to information leading to answers in Dia's case. That kind of reward exists for one reason. Somebody believes there are people out there who know more than they've said.
Rewards are not magic, but they are a signal. This case is still alive. Someone is still pushing, and one conversation, one old argument, one overheard comment could still matter.
And that's where responsible coverage matters. You can't just merge every dark event into one narrative, but you also can't ignore when a detail keeps surfacing in troubling ways. The right approach is to note it, keep it separate, and acknowledge why it unsettles people.
The goal here is to not sensationalize, but to be honest about why this case remains so deeply suspicious to so many.
Solved. I can't believe that people haven't spoken up and come out with the truth, because I know a lot of people actually know what happened.
The timeline of Dia Abrams' disappearance is almost entirely based on statements made by her boyfriend, Keith Harper, who admitted in a deposition last year that he was the last person to see her alive at the ranch.
Now we get into the theory section of this episode. And as always, these are theories, not conclusions, not accusations, and not substitutes for evidence.
In a case like this, the most important thing is discipline. We're not here to declare a verdict. We are here to look at what possibilities make sense based on public facts.
The first theory is accidental disappearance. That Dia somehow left the immediate area on foot, suffered a medical emergency, an injury, or became disoriented in rough terrain, and simply has never been located. Terrain can be unforgiving. Searches can miss things. Weather, animals, brush, and distance can erase a lot.
But the reason a lot of people struggle with that theory is because of what she left behind. If your phone, purse, keys, and truck are all still there, it becomes harder to picture a normal voluntary outing. Not impossible, but harder. And years later, with no confirmed discovery, that theory starts to feel less satisfying to many observers.
The second theory is voluntary disappearance, that Dia chose to leave. This one is the hardest to reconcile with the public facts. People can absolutely leave their lives behind, but in this case, the reported scene doesn't fit that very well. Leaving all of those essentials, disappearing from your own ranch, and never making a verified contact afterward just doesn't line up naturally. That doesn't make it impossible, it just makes it less persuasive.
Then there is the theory that most people immediately go to: foul play by someone close to her. There has not been a public criminal conviction in Dia's disappearance. But when you look at the circumstances that fuel suspicion, you can understand why this theory dominates conversation. She disappears from her own property. The last known witness is someone with a close personal and financial connection to her.
Major trust changes happened shortly before she vanished. Reported evidence collection suggests investigators considered homicide possible, and inside that broader foul play theory are more specific possibilities. One is that Dia was killed during a conflict tied to money, property, or control.
In a lot of unresolved cases, the truth may not live with just one person. It may live in fragments. One person saw a vehicle, one person heard a statement, one person noticed a sudden behavioral change, one person knows why the story never sat right.
There's also a theory people sometimes raise about outside criminal involvement, especially because of the separate marijuana grow operation discovered on another property. Public reporting says a ranch employee did not think Dia's disappearance had anything to do with that operation. And from what's public, there isn't enough to make that theory any stronger.
And yet, it remains one of those background possibilities people mention, because the larger environment around the case was clearly complicated. The biggest unresolved question isn't just who last saw Dia, it's what happened in the window between the last claimed sighting and the point where people accepted she was missing.
And another huge question is whether someone out there has already put the pieces together privately but never came forward publicly. Because cases like this often turn not on a brand new forensic breakthrough, but on someone finally deciding they can't carry the secret anymore.
That's why these cases still need attention years later. Time doesn't just make memories worse. Sometimes time makes people less loyal, less afraid, less willing to protect someone they once protected.
And as of the latest coverage, Lydia Dia Abrams is still missing. The case remains open, and her family still does not have answers. Do any of these theories make sense to you? Please let us know in the comments.
If there is one thing we want people to take from this case, it's that unresolved does not mean unimportant or not being looked at. Lydia Abrams did not just become a mystery. She is a person who vanished, and somebody may still be holding the piece that brings her home.
If you lived in the Mountain Center, Idyllwild, Garner Valley, or surrounding Riverside County areas in 2020, think back. Think about what you heard, what changed, what rumors circulated, what vehicles you noticed, and what conversations felt strange afterward. Sometimes the detail that feels too small to matter is exactly the detail investigators need.
And if you knew Dia, knew the ranch, knew the people around her, or knew anything about movements, property activity, statements, or behavior before or after June 6th, 2020, now's the time to speak up. Even if you're not completely sure your information matters, let investigators decide that.
Public listings for this case direct people to the Riverside County Sheriff's Office. Dia's case is still listed by the California Department of Justice, and public case summaries describe a $300,000 reward tied to information leading to answers.
You can also submit information through Crime Solver Central, so it can be spotlighted and organized in a way that may help push the case back into public view. If you have a tip, a memory, a lead, or even a concern you've sat on for years, don't assume someone else has already reported it.
Lydia Dia Abrams disappeared on June 6, 2020. She was 65 years old. She vanished from the place where she should have been safest, home. And until that changes, this case deserves attention.
If you want to help, keep her name out there. Talk about the case, revisit the timeline, respect the facts. Avoid turning rumors into facts.
If you want to help this case reach more people, share this episode. Please consider subscribing to our channel and turning on notifications. From Crime Solver Central, thank you for being here, and thank you for helping keep pressure on the truth.
Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and stay loud.